Hi BookTube, welcome to my channel. Lighting changed. Welcome to my channel, Book Chat, hosted by I Love to Read, which is c'est moi. I'm going to get started because I have a lot. Like my title read was my current read, book review, and my next book read also or special book read for Black History Month. All right, so The Fog. Yes, I said I would read it again, and I read majority of it to the part where I understood the other part. So is The Fog, graphic novel by Scott Alley, Todd Herman, Andy Owens, Dave Stewart, and yes, what it is, a prequel to the movie The Fog by John Carpenter. The original, not that darn remake they made. And what this book is saying that the fog came originally with the Chinese, who were brought here as slaves, or they came on a slave ship, and that's what it was about. In a gist, that's what it's about. But unlike the fog in John Carpenter's movie with Elizabeth Dane, that's the name of the clipper ship, this fog, the original fog, brought more than just death with it. So, yes, the illustration, don't want to mess that one up then. Don't want to show you. The illustration is beautiful. Yes, there's cursing. Not a lot, but there's some cursing for those who are sensitive to it. And racism. And if I turn this darker, there we go. You would do it that way. And yeah. So anyway, I'm not changing my rating. It's still going to be a 2.5 to 3 stars, I believe, because I had to read it twice. And but anyway, there we go. Now, the book I just finished reading, and oh my gosh, was so good, is The Winter People by Jennifer McMahon. I finished it a few days ago, but it's an excellent book. Wow. Okay, so I'll get started. So this was a great book to read for the winter, and there's snow on the ground. Yes, so, and it's cold here. We got the snow back again where I live. And it's just so good. It was a little not interesting. It was a little confusing at first because of the way it began, which was, it's a diary written by Sarah. So I'm not giving you spoiler alerts because it's in the flap, but the diary is written by Sarah, and Sarah's niece is introducing you to her diary. From there, you read about Sarah. And then Sarah's husband, Martin, he doesn't write in her book, but it's in there. He has his point of view. You also have the point of view of Ruthie, Catherine. They're from this current time. This book was set in the 1900s, early 1900s. The story takes place, come on, 1908. There we go. It takes place in 1908. And it just, get my thoughts together. Okay, so I got my thoughts together. So, not a spoiler alert, unless you just don't want to hear it, but this is in the very beginning of the book, written by her niece. My beloved aunt, Sarah Harrison Shea, was brutally murdered in the winter of 1908. She was 31 years old. There's more to just a little short page there, but you start from there. So you're reading Sarah's journal or diary, and Sarah talks to you about her life and what's going on. And Sarah had a daughter named Gertie. You find out about that. You also find out about Martin, which is Sarah's husband. You get his point of view, but it's more in his is third person. Sarah, of course, because her journal, first person. And yeah, and the book goes back and forth from the early 1900s to current time. It was a little confusing at first, trying to get people find out what they're saying, trying to understand the settings. I'm like, what? Maybe it's because I was reading at work too, and interruptions for lunch break. But suffice to say, each time I didn't want to put it down during lunch, and then I finally just said, forget it. When I got home, I just finished the book, and oh my gosh, it is so good. It is really good. Miss Jennifer McMahon, this is the author. So here she is. I'm going to read the rest of her books, which is The One I Left Behind, Island of Lost Girls, and Promise Not to Tell. So if you want a good, interesting, I'm going to categorize it as ghost story / suspense / thriller, probably even psychological thriller, because there are twists and turns in this book that you never would have seen coming. A couple of things I did think was going to happen, it did, but there was still a twist there. So it's really good. I'm sorry, this lighting. You know, I have this is my 4th time recording, so I'm losing light, and I hate that, but I'm sorry. So I'm just gonna go through this real quick. So Jennifer McMahon, Winter People. Now, okay, Amber, here's what I'm thinking about. Amber from Amber Eats Books. Because if you guys watched her channel, she talks to you about having the book Sleeping Beauty, written by Stephen King and his son, Owen King. And yes, I checked out from the library first because I wanted to read it to make sure I really want it or not, because he's writing with his son. Writing. Because as I told you guys before, I don't even believe that his son, Joe Hill, wrote In the Tall Grass with him. I think the majority of it was done by Stephen King. Because when I read Firestarter, didn't like the book. I'm going to read it again to give another opinion of the second reading. I think I digressed a little bit, but here we go. So this starts out good. Only thing is, there's a part in this book that just already, I'm like, what the heck? And I'm going to read it. So those of you, if you understand it, please put in the comment section for me, because I don't understand this sentence. All right, it's early in the book. Anton was shirtless, and for 2 good reasons, period. I'm also going to read, anyway, I'm thinking too quickly. Punctuations. I'm going to read out the punctuations because this is what's confusing me. Again, I'll start over. Anton was shirtless, and for 2 good reasons, period. First, comma, it was going to be a hot day, period. Second, comma, his abdomen was a rock, period. He was ripped, comma, was Anton the pool guy? Semicolon. He looked like a stud on the cover of a romance novel, period. Now I got it. Do you know how many freaking times I had to read that sentence? I can't even count myself. He was ripped, comma, was Anton the pool guy? I think maybe the character, or no, the narrator, which is Stephen King, because this is written in 3rd person. I think he was being sarcastic. That shouldn't have been hard for me to understand, and I hope the rest of this book isn't like that. And maybe his son did that. Alrighty then. I'm going to keep reading this book though, because where the story's headed is good, but just that part in the writing, I didn't like it. Alrighty. Here we go again. Here's another review. Death, the Deluxe Edition by Neil Gaiman. And Stephen King reviewed it, but I'm sorry, I can't finish it. I can't. It's confusing here. This one, is not one that I don't understand. And then as I'm reading it to you, oh, I get it now. No, that won't happen. Because let me tell you something. The book is about death. It introduces you to the character Death. Also from Neil Gaiman's other stories. Which is in the facade from the Sandman comics. Then you have The High Cost of Living, books 1 through 3, and then The Time of Your Life. So anyway, this is the contents of it. Okay, there we go. But here's the thing that I didn't like. When I read The High Cost of Living, chapter 1, it states that the story takes place in the month of July. When you go to book 2, Death, The High Cost of Living, chapter 2, A Night to Remember, now they said it's in the middle of June. And no, it's not a flashback or a prequel. It's a continuance. If or when you read the book, you will understand. It's a continuance. I showed you the picture because I should have showed you the first one. But anyway, it is a continuance. I didn't like that. I'm like, okay, you already threw me a little bit. But I might continue with the book, but right now I think I'm going to DNF it. So, but if I do, I'll tell you what else. All right, here's the last one. Because it's Black History Month, Patrice Jones, she does not have a BookTube channel. Same thing. So she doesn't have one. But you know, she watches other BookTube videos. So thanks, Patrice. Hi. So she and I are buddy reading Toni Morrison's Song of Solomon. And it says on the back, a rich, full novel, it lifts us up and presses itself upon us like a love novel. That was blurbed by New York Times Book Review. I don't remember ever reading this book. I can't remember. But I'm going to read it anyway because I've heard good things about it. And it was a winner of the Nobel Prize in Literature. So I'm going to read it. If anyone else wants to join us, my Goodreads link is in the description box. I'm rarely on Goodreads because, once again, if anyone has seen my other video that I described why I was gone for so long, it started feeling like a job, and I don't want to keep going back to Goodreads as if it's a job. All right, so that's it. I don't want to make this video long. It's already almost 13 minutes. So, thank you, everyone. So, these are the books that I've talked to you about. There we go. And thank you so much. And you guys have a blessed day. And if you want to, please stay tuned for my book haul. That's going to be quick. It was an impromptu. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day.